You can look on the South Carolina notice site for all of Rick Child's businesses, and you can see if he's applied for any other alcohol licenses anywhere in the state of South Carolina, him or his family. I gave y'all their names. The Columbia Star, all my people in Columbia, somebody type the Columbia Star publishes a notice of application for a permit or license for the off-premises sale and consumption of beer and wine. And they will do that for 7441 Parkland Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223, which is the place where this young boy was shot at the convenience store address. See? That means if somebody connected to that location applied for a or salt renewal for an alcohol permit through South Carolina's Department of Revenue at some point. And South Carolina's Department of Revenue confirms that alcohol beverage licenses and permits are handled through its ABL system. And those resources include a way to find licensed locations and to suspend or revoke those licenses. And here's the thing. In plain English, that's the permit that lets the convenience store sell beer and wine to customers who leave with it. And this is where the community should have paid attention. Somebody type pay attention. You don't like some of these businesses in your communities, they not treating you well? Well, they need a business license. More importantly, they need an alcohol permit. And when an alcohol permit application notice gets published, that isn't meaningless paperwork. That's the government giving notice to the public, which is you, that someone is asking for permission to sell alcohol in your community. And South Carolina law requires alcohol applicants to publish notice and identify the type of license being applied for and the exact location of the proposed business. And that notice creates an opportunity. It tells the community, here's your chance to object to this mofo. Here's your chance to protest this mofo. Here's your chance to tell the state why this location and this particular applicant or this operation should not be trusted with this privilege. South Carolina regulations recognize that people can protest the issuance of renewal of beer and wine permits and alcohol liquor license. So if the Black community around the store knew Rick Child had these prior shooting incidents with Black people who he alleged was shoplifting, y'all should have treated that like a legal alarm bell. And that goes for all you Black folk who are listening to me right now. You got these people in your community that's not treating you right. You need to challenge their liquor license. Put it on the books. Are y'all listening to me? Because sometimes I don't know if you're listening. I really don't know. I can't tell. It feels like I'm just screaming at the internet for 3 or 4 hours. I don't know if you're listening. Am I giving you some ideas? If I'm giving you some ideas, just type idea in the chat room. And for you all who can't spell, just type ID in the chat room. Are you getting some ideas now? How you can get rid of some of these unwanted businesses? These people who treat you poorly. How about you challenge their business license? How about you challenge their alcohol permit? I'm just asking. Why am I the only one that have to? Why did I have to think this up? I gave this all of maybe 24 hours of thought. Where all these smart people at? You don't want the business there. Why boycott everybody? Just get rid of that one. Teach them a lesson. We don't need all these vague general protests. That's emotional. It's not about we don't like him. The objection should be that this location has a documented history of, back to Rick Child, a documented history of dangerous firearm incidents involving the owner and operator between him and suspected shoplifters. He don't need to be selling liquor. You understand that? Is this simple? It don't seem that complicated to me. This man shot at a black woman in 2015. He shot a black man in 2018. And now in 2023, he shot a 14-year-old black boy who was chased from the store and shot in the back after he accused him of stealing water. Water is free. See, the issue is not simply alcohol, and this happens all across the world, all across America. You got these businesses in the black community that treat you bad. Challenge their liquor licenses. You don't need a law degree for this. All you need is an email address. The issue is whether the business location has been operated in a way that creates a danger to the community and the surrounding area. The issue is whether the state should keep granting public privileges to a store where low-value retail disputes have repeatedly escalated to gunfire. That's the situation there. That's how you make license agencies confront that pattern. You don't need to protest. You don't need to riot. You just don't want their application to look clean, and they'll go out of business. They'll go away. You make them answer whether a business with that history should continue receiving alcohol privileges. You make them answer whether a convenience store in the black community should be able to profit from beer, wine, whatever, while the same community is saying this store has a history of violent confrontations with our customers. And you make them answer whether licensing is supposed to protect the public or protect the operator. And don't miss the business angle. If Rick Chow or any related entity wants to sell that store, he's already sold that store. But again, licensing becomes a choke point. And a buyer wants certainty. A buyer wants to know the store can sell what it sells now. A buyer wants to know the permit situation is clean. If the community protests the alcohol permit and files records requests and creates a public paper trail and shows up at hearings and makes the location politically retroactive or radioactive, the store becomes harder to sell as profitable, and he might end up having to sell it for less. You attack the profit structure. The whole reason these people come here is to make money and gain wealth. You attack the whole reason that they're here. You done took his gun, so he ain't gonna be running after nobody. He ain't gonna be big and bad no more. And now you done took his money-making scheme away. All with some paperwork, all with the process of law. No, few hearings, little documentation. And again, I'm not telling you to make up facts. You don't need to lie. You don't need to exaggerate. The facts are ugly enough. This is what should have been done. It could be done now. If he has other businesses, make it impossible for the state to treat this store or this owner like a normal applicant. Make it impossible for anybody to pretend they're buying a clean business with no baggage. Make it impossible for the alcohol permit to slide through without scrutiny. Make it impossible for the operator to keep profiting from the community while the community has no say over whether the business remains licensed to operate the same way. You don't have to burn down a store. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to risk your freedom or safety. You can do it right from your home. Get you a nice certified letter. Make sure it got there. They should have been done this a long time ago. The first time Rick Chow got out of pocket with somebody over some cheap ass, excuse my language, that merchandise, and the gun came out, the community should have been all over him like white on rice. go straight after his alcohol beverage license. A convenience store like that is not valuable just because it has shelves and gas pumps and a gas register. It's valuable because the government gave it the right to sell things like beer and wine and other products. They should have contacted the South Carolina Department of Revenue, and they could have got that man's beer license. That he would have been gone. But they didn't. And that's why this little boy is dead.